Welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell. You're listening to episode number 333. I am your lovely host for this evening as I sit with four other lovely guys. First and foremost, the Tally Nasty is here.
Hey folks, what's going on?
Better known as the Talla Nasty.
Thank you, yeah.
We're going to always call you Tally Nasty, buddy. Cereal Box is here.
It'll never get old.
And Punch is here.
I call him what I want.
What do you call him?
Might be Tally. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
And last
Don't
and
betray
always
me too.
least is Chira Jaden.
I have respect for my friends, so I'll call him Talanasty.
You
Thank
call
you,
him.
Chira.
You call him little bitch, or my little bitch.
Or a piece of shit.
You're all my little bitch pieces of shit.
Great way to start out the podcast, guys. If you want to
Lots of
support the
happiness.
Trinity Force Network, please head over to bit.ly/TForceGG. Pick yourself up a bag of Gatherer's Gourmet granola, the best granola in the land. This stuff is fantastic. And you know what? If you aren't convinced by the way we talk about it, you could potentially win a 6-pack of Gatherer's Granola and a $20 RP card. Go over to our subreddit at T-Force Network or go to bit.ly/. What are we going to do? What are we going to call it? GG Giveaway? GG Giveaway 2? Try one of the two. I don't know if GG Giveaway.
Try one of those.
This is why we're announcing it before we've actually said it.
I've already
That's the
made it.
best part.
I've actually made it. I just haven't made the bit.ly link. You know what? In fact, we'll make it. How about we make it TFN GG LCS. There we go. TFN GG LCS.
Can we put more acronyms in there?
TFN
Yeah, I was about to
GG
say.
LCS. That is what that is a form, and that form allows you to pick the NA LCS winners for the week of February 14th and 13th. So this Saturday and Sunday coming up. You have until Saturday at 2:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to get your votes in. It does record the date and time that you put them in, so if you put them in after 2:59, done. I don't care if it says 3 o'clock, you are not entered to win. The winner will receive $20 in RP and a Gatherer's Granola prize pack that has 6 of the Gatherer's Granola flavors in it. It's everything we've ever tasted. If you want to buy it instead, bit.ly/TForceGG. You go to Amazon, you can buy it right from there. Guys, and in case of a tie, which I have a feeling just because of this week's lineup, there will be a tie, you need to head over. We will be doing a follow-up or we'll email the winners or the people who tied, and we'll make you choose the EU LCS winners for the next week, for that next and upcoming week. That way, we have some kind of tiebreaker. And if it ties again, we might just flip a coin.
Yeah, I was about to say, if it ties again, then clearly fate is on your side, and I don't know what to do from there.
Yeah, I don't know. If it ties again, we'll flip a coin or something. So again, bit.ly/TForceGG. Guys, thank you so much for supporting the Trinity Force Podcast. Also, one last announcement before we jump into League of Legends discussion. We are gearing up for PAX East. We will be there in some format, some way. We're really hoping we'll get a booth and do some panels, but it's up in the air to the PAX gods and whether or not we can take care of that. But we do need your support to make it out there. And you can go over to patreon.com/TForce Network and sign up. $10 a month gets Champions Select Podcast. This month, I know for sure we're going to have Riot Shin on to talk about Syndra. He designed Syndra. He's the number 1 ranked Syndra in the world. This guy, you will get that if you go sign up for $10 this month.
I saw one game of it. It was jungle, and it was scary as shit. He was on my team. He was on my team, and I was scared of him. So that should show you how good he is.
Yes, this guy's awesome. So we will have him on to do that. And then we'll have one other guest that we're going to find and bring on for this month. Again, you can go. That's only $10 a month. Help us get back up to $2,000 because we just need a few more bucks to help make that out. And don't forget to go sign up for the Trinity Force Network tournament at the end of this month as well. It's on the subreddit. Just go sign up. You can win some RP in that way. So we're just going to jump right into the League of Legends discussion. First, I wanted to talk about some stuff that we have learned, or, I actually have a topic for this. The guys are like, what are we going to talk about? Well, I like to surprise them. And then we're going to end the podcast talking about PvE, because there's a couple items on the PvE that we need to discuss. like Duskblade of Drekthar and
Can't wait.
and other pieces. But I want to leave that to the end of the podcast because usually we get going about 30 minutes in and it gets really good conversation. So this last Sunday, I played. Was it Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday. I played a game with Chira Jaden.
It was Saturday.
Was it Saturday? I thought it was Sunday.
No, it was Saturday because it was at night on Saturday.
Yes, that's right, because I was exhausted by that time
Yep.
at night. And I had spent all day in an aquarium and at a kid's birthday party, and then I decided to play some League of Legends.
Kids.
They're fantastic and the most exhausting things ever. So Saturday night I played a game with Chira Jaden. This is leading to some League of Legends discussion I want to talk about, and I also want to talk about Talanassi's video that's up there because we need to talk a little about kiting and stuff. So first and foremost, played a game with Chira on this last Saturday. I was Elise, and honestly, it was probably the best first 20 minutes of an Elise game I've ever had in my entire life.
You did really, really good early.
Yeah, but I fucked up. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like in the middle of it during a death. After I talked to Chira, I went, you know what? I did fuck up. I should have done this. So what happened in that game was, I was playing Elise. I'm landing most of my skills, a lot more than I normally do. I invade the enemy Echo at his blue at like 4.5 minutes, roughly 5 minutes, and everyone collapses down there. We take his blue. Echo is now 2 levels behind me, a level and a half behind me, and we leave. We have a ward down in there, so after we base and come back, I realize Echo is still there. And in my head, I go, well, Echo's down. I can fight him. Why don't I keep fighting him? Well, at that point, everybody had already been pushed in because they were still low from that last invade, and I wasn't. I went in there, and we ended up losing the fight, which set us behind because then I couldn't go help out my lane partner. So what I wanted to talk about was jungle pressure, properly counter-jungling, and why, if you invade and you get a win, you shouldn't try to get another win. And does anyone else have anything to chime in with, or should I continue to?
Oh, is it that you shouldn't go get another win, or that there's just more factors that you needed to take into account?
Both.
There's more
keeping somebody
factors
down.
to take into account.
Yeah, keeping somebody down is a really good idea. It's just that you didn't have the opportunity to do so.
Well, and it became a big piece of this was that Adam got a really big advantage on the enemy jungler early. So he tries to spend more time in the enemy jungle trying to continue to keep the enemy jungler down. But what he failed to do, and this is something I've seen a lot of people do before, if you get an advantage and you go and you progressively try to continue to like keep that advantage on somebody else, but you're not actually able to transfer like any of your power into actual map control, or like let's say you did beat out an enemy jungler early, so you continuously go into the same side and you're harassing them there. If you're not killing him and you're not taking his jungle right in front of him, and the enemy team collapses and you're just kind of sitting there in their jungle dancing, yeah, he's down, but you're not really getting anything out of any of the time that you're spending in there. Whether that, and that's time where the enemy jungler would be forced to continue probably farming at this point to try and catch up because he's already behind, which means that he's not going to be around necessarily to gank very well. And if he is around to gank, you might be able to fight a 2v2 with your jungler against their jungler and flip something there because your jungler is already ahead. So a big piece of this was like Adam got a really big advantage and then tried to continue that advantage but wasn't able to really do anything with it, and he waited around too long in a spot without doing anything with it to the point where nobody else could help him, and we ended up getting collapsed on 3v2 and losing for it just because there was a lot of time spent not doing anything. It was like the road to the road to good intentions sort of thing. Not everything fucked up real bad because we tried to do great things.
Well, isn't it a little bit that that the first one you get is kind of more of a high reward, medium kind of risk play, and as you keep going to that same area, the risk keeps increasing because the other team knows about it. The reward keeps decreasing because, well, they're worth less gold. You're not getting as much off them like that first blue. Like you can get more things other places in the map too.
Well, that's the thing. Instead of spending that much time, trying to necessarily fight in the enemy jungle, like let's say best case scenario, you did beat the other guy out in their jungle. All right. So Adam, you beat the other guy out in his jungle, right? And now you're in the enemy's territory. You're in a non-advantageous point in the game, like a part of the map in the game, because you're at an area of the map that's not, you might have a ward down here or there, but it's not like we had majority of the vision in that area.
Right.
And then the other thing is too, because it's on their side of the map, it's much easier for their team to come and deal with you. Whereas like people on your team have to travel farther. And like in my situation, I was fucking around with Jhin mid, which is fun, but early game, you know, Jhin damage is okay. And I had 0 mana the entire time this was going on. So it was like I would have to keep leaving lane where I was ahead of who was it? It was enemy Diana? Akali, that was it. Yeah, I was beating out the enemy Akali in lane, but because I had to keep leaving lane, and I had an advantage myself on Akali, but because I had to keep leaving lane and just to show presence in order to help you out, I couldn't like, and we didn't have any kill potential because I didn't have that mana. It was just kind of like one of those things where eventually just all that wasted time really began to add up, and it was one of those situations where we just kind of pissed advantages away.
Do you think it's a case of like kind of biting off more than you can chew, and you know you want to press your advantage, but you want to also strategically press your advantage?
Yeah, it's a sobering moment where, you know, this is kind of like this season's gonna be my learning the jungle season, because that's a role I've chosen to, you know, just to try to climb the ranks with, and so I'm learning a whole new role on how to invade. And there's like I feel like there's a lot more to the role than people give it credit for, and everyone knows how taxing jungling can be on a person, because after like 3 games of jungling, I'm like, whoa, man, I just gotta step away, because I gotta pay attention to so much more than if I'm fucking sitting in mid lane or I'm sitting in top lane, right? Because I gotta.
There's a lot of macro level play.
Tons of it, right? But
I say one of the biggest things, like for when you're deciding to go in again, is obviously you're saying like your mid laner might be out of mana, might not be pushed in, but just like from the loading screen, that's one of the first things I do as a jungler. Is I'm like, I can invade this guy and kill him at his red buff, but both my top and mid lane are late game carries, or they don't have that early game push. They're going to be pushed in for the first 10 minutes of the game.
Right.
So I can't go ahead and do it. I just can't.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that you have to think about everyone else's lane, and it's different from most other roles.
Right. Well,
The jungle mains could
go ahead.
Well, if you want to go back and touch on something, I was going to bring up something of a new point.
Write it down just so I can just talk about this real quick, so you don't forget.
Okay, go ahead. I got it.
Okay. I was just going to say, this is a sobering moment, because it's one of those moments where you're like, I'm doing really well. I'm keeping the enemy jungler down. I have had success here, and now I want to transfer that success into something else in the game. And I've heard everybody along this podcast, you know, say this exact thing that we're talking about. Pressure advantages, use it to push your team ahead. You know, think about what the enemy jungler is doing, all the things that we're talking about, but going into a game and turning that into, you know, practical real life experience,
An actual tangible situation
it's
is
a lot harder.
different.
Yeah, it's different, because you don't get those you don't, honestly, as a jungler, you don't get those advantages that often to go in and you know, get a kill and steal someone's buff that early. So transferring that into the game again was sobering, because it made me go, okay, I understand this now, so I feel like I can teach it. And it's a great feeling for me to be able to come here and tell you guys, listen, I tried this out, you know, and I fucked up. Now don't do what I did. Don't walk into the enemy jungle twice in the same location.
Well, and the other thing is too, like, yeah, you do get an advantage, but like if something works on somebody, they're kind of, at least they're probably thinking about that. They're thinking about what had just happened quite a bit, especially like a smart player. Let's say in top lane, like you're in a really good top lane matchup, like you're in a matchup where it's a skill matchup one way or the other.
Renekton versus Cho'Gath.
Let's just say that's
sure, the time will spell.
For whatever argument's sake, let's just say that's what it is. So we get into a situation where one mistake is made and one person dies over the other person. Yes, somebody's going to have an advantage over somebody else, but it isn't that hard to recognize, okay, I lost in this situation. He now is going to have an item advantage over me or whatever. I'm just going to play back because I don't want to give him any more kills. And if I have to give up, 10 CS over the course of the next minute, that's fine. Like I just have to hold out because I don't want to be that detrimental person on my team that ends up feeding my lane, because it's better for me to lose out on some CS and not die than it is to risk going in to get a little bit of money to lose out on XP if I do die, and then to die and give somebody else more gold.
And getting an advantage in the jungle is kind of different. Like you get an advantage in a lane, you get more direct stats usually on your first back. You'll have an item or half an item on them. But getting advantage in jungle, you might just get a tracker's knife and then ward up their red side, so you have 100% knowledge of their jungler, and then just take advantage of that.
Advantage
That's
in the
kind of what I wanted
jungle,
to bring up.
Let Punch go.
Okay, that's fine.
Was repeatedly ganking somebody over and over in a jungle to keep them down seems like it has less upside and it's trickier than doing the same thing to a solo lane. When you gank a solo lane and successful, it's usually a good idea to go back because their flash is usually down and you can start snowballing that lane for your teammate who's getting kills, assists, and all the farm from the minions. So usually focusing on a single lane is actually a valid strategy to win a game. Whereas, jungle is risky because you're going into the enemy side. You have that risk of getting collapsed on. You don't know exactly where the jungler is unless you've got wards everywhere. And by that time, you're probably winning the game anyways.
Right.
Crap, I'm pulling a Rivington here. I was lost where I was going.
He walked down the blind alley. No, you make a really good point in that.
Oh, yeah, okay, so I remember where I wanted to go with that. I think the better strategy is when you get that kill early with the jungler and keep them down, you can use that to start ganking the other lanes because he can't really follow up and counter gank. He's going to be behind. If he tries, then you snowball that skirmish and win, and yeah.
Even if he does, you're still in a 2v2 where ultimately your team should be able to beat them out in a 2v2 because the other jungler is down.
Yes.
So the other day, something to bring up for if you're playing against a jungler. Here's a good point for you guys that are playing against a jungler that might invade or might be somewhere. I've been playing a lot of Kindred lately, and I always tell my team I will be in the river at 2:30 because that's when the scuttle crab spawns. And 8 times out of 10, the scuttle crab on the bottom side of the map, or whatever side of the map you start on, spawns the mark. So you get your first mark if you kill it. And I always tell my team, 2:30, I will be there. Be ready to collapse. Well, the other day, it didn't spawn, but I happened to be down there I happened to be down there about 2:17, and I noticed the enemy team, or the enemy bot lane, was pushed up really far because they were like blitz something, and they were just trying to be super aggro. And I got a double kill because I, ran around the bush from blue side into red side around the bush behind them, and got a double kill because they were pushed up so far. Now, the point of this is, I got a double kill, but I didn't feel that fed as a jungler because I had to go pick up my knife, whatever it was. I think I picked up the chilling smite knife, right? And I noticed how weak I was in comparison to a laner who got 1 kill because I wasn't able to push regular mobs as quickly as I could clear a jungle. Like, I had to hold mid lane at one point because there was a 4-man or 3-man gank bot, so I held mid lane. And I can't push very hard against a mid laner who has a couple items on me when my items just work in the jungle. So all that gold you're feeding to the jungler can help a lot if he's using it correctly to clear jungle and move around the map more quickly. But if he's stuck holding a lane, it kind of sucks for the guy. So you have to kind of keep
also, that solo gold is only going to you as opposed to a gank where 2 people are getting gold, so 2 people can get ahead.
Spread out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's an interesting thing you could have done in that situation too, especially since you knew where the enemy jungler was going to be and he was still in that side of the jungle that you just stole his buff from anyway. What you could have done as well, and this is something I like to do, since you already knew where they're at, if you were banking on counter jungling, instead of going to the side of the map where you already know that he's at, you could just go to the side where he's not, take what's there, and just wait in the bush for him to show up, and then just shit on him then. Sure. Because if you can surprise somebody in that situation, like if you're spending a lot of time in one section of the map and he kind of knows you're going to be around, his team, especially the people on that side of the map, are going to be aware of that as well. Like, again, how often they don't have to move quite as far, and how often did they just react and end up showing up and you needed to back off, and then as soon as they get back to lane you went back in. Whereas like you could just continue to clear a little bit, you're already ahead, so you're clearing faster anyway, and you're playing Elise, so your clear is already quick. Then if you wanted to, you go into his jungle, take something. Like if you're going in and you're taking something right in front of their face and they can't do anything about it, yeah, that can be awesome, and it's really, really heartbreaking when that's happening to you. Like if
it puts them on tilt too.
If
how many times do you
runs
see
into
people
your jungle and scares you off your mobs, like your jungle camps, and then takes them, and you're sitting there in the bush and your teammates can't get to you in time, and then Udyr just backs off and you start moving to something else, or any jungler just backs off and you start moving on to something else, and he shows up again and bullies you off it and just takes that too, and then is able to get away, that can crush you. But if you're just playing patty cake in there,
that's why I don't play Devour.
It's whatever.
I feel like I always get crushed playing anything Devour against. And that's what I love too, is like playing against Devour champion, pressing tab and seeing the Devour. Because I'm like, all right, I'm just going to gank a fuckload and take dragons because this motherfucker's not getting sated anytime soon. He's gonna have to like pull some crazy shit to get
If you
Satan.
want to ruin somebody's day who's getting devoured, just take Dragon and the Rift Scuttler. I mean, the Rift Herald anytime you can, because like that puts them back significantly. And if they're able to take it, they can build like you can get
It's 5
a 15
stacks.
minute. You can get a 15-minute sated if you're paying it. If they're not warding Dragon and you're going and doing it earlier with just like the support or something else, you can get sated really, really, really quick. But
Dragon's
if the
5,
enemy,
right? And
Yep,
and
yep, each are
Krabbas
5.
too.
Crabs 2, both big objectives are 5. You can, I mean, you just get, it's
Stacks
what
on
5
stacks on stacks.
in a little under 5 minutes. You could get around 15 stacks if you're quick on the draw with certain spawns coming up between Dragon and Rift Herald.
I love
That's
it.
a lot.
I love
That's
that
like
people
no
are
time
talking-
at all for that.
People are talking about Runic Echo's Udyr in here, and you guys told me I'm not allowed to talk about that.
No, you can talk about it. It's
We
good.
thought it was a silly idea.
No, it's good. I've played it. I like it.
I
but,
want to just point out that I wish I had the text message here where Sean told me to pretty much
I was
fuck
like,
off, and
I
it's
was like,
terrible.
no. I was like, it's fine, but like, I don't. There are times where I feel like Runic Echoes is on him at least is really, really good, and it is, but so is Sated on him. Like he doesn't really have a bad path right now. One I would say is a better late game build if you can't just guarantee an advantage early, and then like Runic Echoes on him, you're running around with a base 500 move speed. So you're running around like a Rammus in Q form the entire time that you have it, and you're not running out of mana because of the proc on it. And it only procs off of Tiger Q and Phoenix proc.
It
so
procs
just
off
heads
everything.
up.
It'll proc off of E.
It doesn't proc up Bear.
because E does
Nope.
damage.
It doesn't do it. It procs off spell damage.
That's
Yeah.
right. Okay. But everyone laughing, right? Spell damage. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But he's got enough spell damage in his kit. Tally, I kind of feel
His
like you have this
spell
look in
push and
your
everything.
face where you want to add to the conversation, but you haven't found a spot to jump in yet.
I just feel like Runic Echo Udyr in general is just it's
I
kind
think
of
it teaches
cheesy.
some really, really bad
That's what
habits.
solo queue is, though. Like solo queue is straight just
But- and
cheese.
But Udyr itself isn't going to, I've seen a couple of them at high elos, but it just isn't going to work against as many players. So why spend so much time learning this kind of cheese route that it might not, might carry you here and there. But
especially
it's-
if they decide to nerf it anytime soon, like
I
then
love how
it kind
Chira
of throws
flip-flops
everything.
Here. I got a text message today. He's like, "You should learn Udyr. He's like the winningest
I know
champion."
you should. He is. He's the winningest jungler right now. Like you should definitely pick him up because when has he been bad in solo queue?
I don't think he's ever really been that terrible. in
Yeah,
solo
you
queue.
know what? I want you to fucking go ask Sotir right now. When has Udyr been bad in solo queue?
I can't ask Sotir right now because
That's
When
'cause it's-
bad
it's
Udyr
one
is
of
built
three.
sated and never gank my lane.
yeah.
Well, hey,
Udyrs.
then that's just a really dumb Udyr because like you have even without like if you buy sated, you still have more damage within the first 6 levels than almost any other jungler. So like if you have even if you're trying to go for sated Devour, let's just say you buy Devour and you're not going to gank because like your ganks, if you can get in range to bear stun somebody, there is a very high chance that they're going to die. You can stack sated so fast it's stupid. So that's just you're just playing with dumb Udyrs.
I just went on to Champion GG and looked at the highest win percentage build, and it's frightening because it's Swifties into Runic Echoes into Iceborne Gauntlet into
Iceborne,
ZZ Rot's
ZZ
Portal,
Rot.
Mother of God.
yes.
Dead Man's, and Spirit Visage, and I don't know.
I've been
The
seeing.
movement
I don't want to
Turn.
see that ever now because I'm scared. of it.
Honestly, you're running around with over 500 movement speed, doing whatever you want, and doing like big chunks of burst damage and being able to clear your jungle really quick, and that's great.
But
It's
if you
a
want to
split
run
push
fast
in
and do
face.
big chunks of damage, why would you pick Udyr?
Well,
Well,
that's
I
what
mean,
Udyr does. He just
well,
runs
the thing
around
is, like,
and split pushes and duels
Anyone who
anybody.
does that, and there are people that do
but
that.
he can do like he runs around
And you're
really
timer
fast
himself.
anyway. Well, and that's the thing. Even with sated, like if you have blue buff, you still run around like 480 move speed. It's still really fast.
Okay, I
already
would put
runs
this
fast.
way: is that every argument we've ever had? I mean, hell, I still make the arguments of you just need to do this to counter this champion, right? Like Malphite, you just need not to group up, but it's solo queue and people group up because no one knows where to go or how to move, so they're going to get 3-man ulted by Malphite. Same thing with Udyr; they're going to get ganked after Udyr's running at 500 movement speed, and he's gonna snowball that advantage and take towers really quickly and just and snowballs advantage. That's what solo queue is. I don't care how many times you tell me that 3 or 4 people are playing together. Udyr
I mean, it
wins
works
solo
in solo
queue
queue.
games.
He does. He absolutely wins solo queue games because solo queue games are still matches that, for the most part, are won early. And he, just like Elise, is very, very good at winning things early. So, like, if you can get a big enough advantage for your team early, that can usually spell an early win for you guys, especially if you're able to crush the other team's spirit. You know, how you run into the right, it's the perfect storm of the wrong mindsets on the enemy team and the right mindsets on your team. If they can take that snowball that you had and the other team is weak, you just, oh hey, that's a 20-minute surrender, thanks.
honest,
And
anytime-
that's just because
It's like
you
anytime
beat
I
them
see
mentally.
Rengar, I know I'm going to lose that game just because it's fucking Rengar.
Well, that's a terrible reason. Just pick somebody with a hard CC, and as soon as they jump in, stun the fuck out of him.
Yeah, right. Until you're the one, it's 4v5 because he just jumped in.
I don't
No,
care
you
how
just
much
you stand on top of your allies. You
Yeah.
stand on top of your allies when you see the exclamation
Just be
mark.
a
You
big
flash
fat-
flash on top of your AD carry right when you see the exclamation mark. Hard counter.
I don't care how much move speed he has. He still has to run up to you in order to engage.
That's the other thing, too.
He's going to
Yeah.
get kited. Good players are going to be able to kite you, and it obviously depends on the meta. If champions happen to be strong that have a lot of CC and slows and stuff like that, I know
Janna.
Swifties reduce that a little bit. Yeah, exactly. You're just going to get cop blocked all day because you don't really have a hard engage. Whereas Elise has a repel and Zach has a slingshot,
Well,
and
she has
you know,
a range stun. Like, that in itself
yeah, that yeah.
makes a huge
But
difference.
Udyr has to just run at you. It's very predictable.
Battlestar.
Alistar jungle? Oh, knocking him away?
yeah.
Or just
Or
flesh.
Frozen Mallet.
Thresh,
Frozen
Thresh
Mallet.
flaying you
Sounds
away.
like
Yeah,
his
it's
favorite
frozen.
thing.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Hard
please.
countering him too.
I'm gonna play Frozen Mallet Udyr so I stay on top of
You're
everybody.
you're taking a late game
Don't need
cheese
it.
devour Udyr and you're turning into an early game ganking cheese that is not going to scale as well because
Yeah,
you're going to be a
there's
squishy
nothing-
tank.
There's nothing bad about doing that though.
No, there's not. But I'm not. I'm saying it's going to have a level where it just stops working, or you're going to have games and comps that it just does not work against because they're going to kite the shit out of you.
I don't know. I
shock
think that,
factor
that,
wears
that's-
off.
That same argument can be used for any
A lot of
just
champions.
any
Anything that
champion.
becomes strong, yeah.
I mean,
And-
you can
and-
just do this. You can just. I mean, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong by any means. I just the solo queue is such a beast where we see it. How many Veins have we seen that try to like roll in? How many Corkis flash Valkyrie and try to kill 3 people? I mean, just stupid shit happens while you're playing.
Tried to pull the
game.
double lift.
Adam, how many Corkies W in and don't have Q up and instantly
does
die?
that?
I don't know.
And I'm just pointing out something that's always been the case with Udyr. I don't know where this is coming out of besides, oh, it's a move speed item. Let's throw it on
Because it's
Udyr and see what
2G,
happens.
That's why.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I just feel like this conversation is gonna go away. in a
Well,
couple
what
of
what
years.
is realistically going to
I'm
happen
gonna
is
do
he's going to fall out of the flavor of the month like a lot of other champions do, and people are going to forget about it. Like Shyvana is still incredibly strong right now. If you can get Devour on her, you build straight tanky, and eventually you get a Blade of the Rune King, and you can 1v1 almost anybody else in the game. It's pretty crazy.
I don't know.
You shred tanks, you do whatever. Yeah, it's
I
a little
like
rough to
that.
get there, but she can do it. And she is another one of those champions that runs at you. Like there are a bunch of those people. Olaf, he runs at you. He gets, an
Sean.
ult that makes it so what?
Sean.
What do you want from me?
Towers can't kite. It doesn't
I
matter.
fucking hate you.
Mobs can't kite. Thank you, nickname by. You just split push. Towers can't kite you. You just run at him and then you run away.
That's the answer.
That's the
We're
answer.
just split pushes.
You can definitely do that. Definitely works. I think what it is, a lot of, again, this is one of those flavor of the month things. They probably will end up nerfing something down the road, whether it's some scaling on one ability or making it not proc off certain things. But like, things are. How many times have we seen this where like something comes and it's at the forefront? You brought up last night, Adam, that Graves wasn't pick or banned in a couple games that you were in, and nobody picked him.
Yeah, and then they pick
And
him
I'm
in
not-
the one game as AD carry and they surrender at 20 minutes because
Yeah, I'm like-
0 Kindred, but
Again, Graves is pretty strong right now, but I'm still I played 2 games into Graves last weekend and we shit on him both times. So
You're just the
just
best.
because something has a high win rate doesn't mean it's good like all the time. It
just
depends
doesn't
on
mean
who's
the
playing it.
players who are good.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And don't play something just because it has a high win rate.
Are you? Is that
Wait, you're
pointed at
talking to
me?
Pwn here. Are you serious? Yeah.
Hey, I'm playing Kindred. I'm riding Kindred all the way throughout my ranked game.
That is true. Adam has been adamant about playing Kindred, so
I do
he
think
can
she's
take
still
that.
OP as fuck.
And in his defense too, I did say he should learn how to play Udyr because he's really good right now. But he's always been good. He solo queue terror because he sows chaos. And any character that can do things to make other people mad, or that can just 1v1 them because and they can't do anything about it and they can't run away from it, that's really good in solo queue.
Should we
Things
talk
that
about
make
PvE
people
stuff?
angry are good in solo queue.
As long as you know how to get that advantage in that chaos and turn it into objectives and stuff.
Right.
I have a cat. Hi, cat. She's so not happy with me. All right, so should we talk about PvE stuff now that we've talked about this a bit?
There's fun stuff on
Yes.
there. Like fun, really, really a lot of balance changes that make a ton of sense.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like
Is that
Graves.
sarcasm?
No, like I just saw. Well,
I kind of
saw a
wanted
few
to.
of them.
I didn't
but-
want to talk about like the changes because I wanted to leave those for when we do PvE discussion, whatever that is.
Is that
or-
what we're doing right
patch
now?
notes?
You just said let's talk PvE.
I meant
okay,
patch
but
note
it's not PvE
discussion.
discussion.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, I
Patch
thought
notes.
pet maintenance was announced, so that should be coming up.
Where's our patch notes? We don't have them in our inbox. I make those announcements, we're getting them, and then they're not in my inbox yet. GG First Blood. We're gonna have to do it like just
Ripped.
normal people.
All right, talk Dustblade then. Like that's the
Do we
one
want
that's
to go?
interesting.
Do we want to go into those leaked ones?
No, I'm not gonna. I don't do leaked patch notes. I do PvE, and then say fuck leaked patch notes, even though they're probably right. No, I just want to talk Dustblade of Drakthar, and humorous story before we get in there. Yeah, I could talk about this. Is that we were talking at Riot about how they are continually releasing new items based on names of people who got the refer a friend rewards really high. Like the what was it,
Interesting.
10,000, and they're still working on that. But they're
Wow.
like trying to plead with people to like let them do certain names. There's like they gave me an example. I don't remember the name, but we'll just kind of go with like Sex God 99 for example, like someone's name, and they're like, yeah, we can't put that name in the game. Can we just do like some euphemism or something with it, or here we'll just name it
Or
this.
references IRL name maybe or something?
Right, and and they just laughed about it, so they're still trying to fulfill those rewards. So I'm kind of curious if Dustblade Drekthar is likely a refer a friend guy.
I wonder how many people don't, like listeners who don't remember that, like season, I don't even know when that ended. Was that maybe like season 2 or 3? You could refer friends and there were a bunch of rewards you could
You got
get up
rewards
up
for
to
it.
Yeah, like
and including
medieval-
helping design a champion. Was I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the
Feral
top one?
That was like what, 10K? Something like
It was
that.
a lot.
Well, you got like
I know-
you got an item.
And you
named
got
after
Grey
you.
Warwick and stuff, right?
Yeah, 100 was like Feral
Medieval
Warwick or
Twitch.
whatever it was, and
Was the
yeah.
Fiends and Holy Grail the first item?
I thought it was
named
Total
after you?
Biscuit with the biscuit. I know
That
it's
is one of the biggest ones. I mean,
Wait,
that's
the
one-
Mana Biscuit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
Total
why- that's
Biscuit.
from
Total
Total
Biscuit.
Biscuit.
It's literally Total Biscuit.
I
like
didn't know that was Total Biscuit's item until now. That's funny.
I mean, it's called the Total Biscuit of Rejuvenation.
I had
That-
no idea. Never even never clicked.
That went off in
It
your head.
Never clicked. Woo! Yeah, every time I read it, I always knew Athene's and Holy Grail. I'm like, oh, everyone knows who Athene is.
That asshole.
It's your favorite streamer, Adam.
Well, Athene is a dumbass, but I love him, so he's great. He's everything I wish I could be. You know what, Cat? Go meow someplace else. All right, let's talk about Duskbraid and Drakthar.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. 5,000 was all future and current content was permanently unlocked, and then 10,000 was to help design a champion. 1,000 was content element will be named after your summoner. And there's a lot of these. We can talk way later.
Talk about it later
that.
date. Let's talk about this. 3,250 gold, serrated Dirk plus BF sword plus 850 gold, 75 attack damage, 5% movement speed, 10 armor penetration, and the big kicker on top of this. I mean, this item is like everything you'd ever want on an assassin ever. Basic attacks on an enemy champion apply Nightfall. Oh, it's got a 2-minute cooldown. Nightfall. After 2 seconds, you deal physical damage equal to 90 plus 25% of the target's missing health. If you get a kill or assist on the target before Nightfall ends, the cooldown is refunded. So you're exploding people for the amount of damage, for 25% of the amount of damage you've done.
Gulp.
That sounds broken.
And it's not even the amount of damage you've done. It's target's
It's
missing
25%
health.
of missing health. So like,
If they're already at
I see
75%, you start.
first of all, it's a 75 attack damage item, so that's a shit ton. There's only a couple other items in the game that give that much. It gives move speed, which is assassins are just drooling all over the place. Armor pen. The only reason why I could see this might be balanced is that it's not an active and you can't control
Yes.
it. so that if it comes back up and you don't want to use it in lane, you just can't auto attack. Otherwise, it'll be used.
Yeah,
It's
even if you use like a ZQ or something, and then it automatically.
No,
is
it's a
applied
basic attack.
No, it's basic attack.
after 2
so-
seconds. Oh, basic
So
attacks on enemy
you
champion.
can't trade with auto attacks. You either have to, if you decide if this is up and you just harass them with one auto, it's gonna proc.
But
To be fair, though, it's still a
Talon and
good.
Zed, like they don't trade with auto attacks.
Yeah, but it's still a good, like, that trade is not horrible. Like, even if you don't get it, even if they're at full health at the end of the pop, which is, that can't be many scenarios after hitting an auto attack, like, you're still getting 90 free damage. And
I'm not
that's
saying
assuming you've done nothing else. So I think it can be good in trading. I wonder how much it's going to make assassins, like you're saying, Talon and Zed, to, like, wait a lot longer to auto somebody. Like, they're just going to be like, I don't even know what tanks are anymore. We have to dive. I think it has to be somebody who dives all the time.
You also might see situations where those kind of assassins go look at other lanes to gank around the time
That it's about to
the
pop.
passive would be coming up. So like, it's going to be up in 30 seconds. You roam bot because, let's say 15 seconds. You roam bot because by the time you get down there, it's going to be ready. So if you can just go in right away and you can dump a bunch of damage into them, there you go.
Because those
Like
champions
that,
needed help with roaming.
well, hey, you know what? Maybe not. This might be sort of some reverberation of champions. Like we're seeing, marksman. We're seeing Graves out of top lane. We're seeing Kindred and Graves out of the jungle. We're seeing Graves everywhere. But marksmen aren't in a terrible place right now. We're seeing Corki and Ezreal out of mid again. So maybe this is just one of those items that they put in the game to be like, okay, there's a lot of marksmen all over the place. Let's put the fear of God back
You
into
have to
marksmen.
curb the marksman population, and in order
By
to do
killing
that,
them.
you implement more assassins into the wildlife.
They should just call it like they should rename whatever culling item to just the culling of the marksman, and that's what this item is.
Besides this proccing
ruin
off
your
of
day.
basic attacks, I can still see this being a bit balanced based on the fact that it is a BF sword. You have to sit in a BF sword, and it's not
For a while.
mean, somebody like it, if you're playing like Zed or a Talon, you're going to be sitting on a little extra gold to get to this item because there's not a lot of times you go back with 1,300 flat gold. You usually go back with about 1,100, I would say. It's about 1,100 to 1,150 gold.
Well,
Yeah,
so
but
does
that'll get you the serrated
amount.
Dirk. Yeah.
How many
Yeah, but
people are
it's-
using that early? Because I didn't realize the passive on it, where you get after killing a minion, you get more damage on your next basic attack, which I feel like could be a very interestingly good amount of harass early on, which
What's
is
that?
what this builds into
Serrated
is even more good harassing. Yes, Serrated Dirk
Everybody,
does that.
they're all building Serrated Dirk early because of
Okay.
that reason.
Yeah, I've been playing down bot lane, so I don't even know what happens. across the rest of the
Zed
map.
and Talon are buying Yumu's first item
Yeah, okay.
generally
Yep.
because of the moves.
There's a lot of
armor
people.
pets
There's a
godlike
lot of people
anyway.
getting Yomus early.
Yeah. So Serrated Dirk is godlike for trading, but this probably isn't a rush item. I'll be honest. I mean, it looks really overpowered and crazy, but when they balance it based on basic attacks on the enemy champion, it's all in or nothing.
One thing I'm curious
that a
about.
bad thing?
We said
not.
Graves.
For an assassin?
Hey,
Like,
so
I
we
feel
said
like if
Graves
you're going
there.
to finish
What?
this item, then you can just all in whenever you want. And if you're all in, you're going to use your auto attack.
Sure.
Like we said earlier, those assassins that trade aren't going to trade with auto attacks.
Yeah, so one thing I was curious about, Graves auto attacks, but let's say he auto attacks somebody behind like another champion. How does that work?
It's not a basic attack.
It stops
though.
at the first.
That's
Yeah.
his basic attack.
Well, that is his basic attack.
His
yeah.
basic
Yeah,
attack
it's-
stops at
it's
the
auto
first when it
attack.
hits, though.
I
Yeah,
think
Graves
if any
does
part of
too.
his cone, any part of
Is
his
it? But
cone
if it hits,
him.
but let's say it hits somebody like it hits the guy who he targeted, but it hits another person first too. Like what?
It'll
I mean, I know this is a
probably
really
be the
unique
first
interaction,
champion.
but-
It'll probably be the first champion to hit because on the
Yeah.
same token, like Braum can block shots. Wouldn't that count as
Yeah.
him being the one hit?
Probably. There's a lot of things that could happen with this.
I don't think it'll be good, but what do you guys think about this on an AD carry that might really, really want to get that kill, that reset, like maybe a Jinx? I mean, they probably would never build this, but
I would think it would have to be a cash ready carry instead of a auto attack one. Like maybe Lucian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the auto attacks, it might be really hard to utilize this item. Like with it triggering off of beta attacks, you're going to have to pay attention to the item. And we humorously brought up that a lot of people, that like 80% of the population already doesn't use active items. So giving a passive item that you have to track is, I would say, just as hard as using an active item. because you have to be mindful of what you can auto attack or not. So if you're poking as Caitlyn or somebody, you're not going to be able to use this item to its full potential. You have to be.
You won't be able to use it. You won't be able to use it at its full potential, but you will be using it. Whereas, like, if it is an active and you're just not paying attention to it, that's bad on
but you won't get like anything out of it.
No, and that very well might be true. But, and again, it depends on how strong this is right out the gate. It's still getting something that goes off randomly or like that has a certain amount of procs per minute. Let's just use that. Is better than buying an active item that you don't use at all.
Yeah. Like at the very least, this may randomly kick in and help you.
Yes, that's exactly it. Like you may not
But
have
2 minutes is a
cognitively
long
gone
time.
out to do something with it.
2 minutes
but
is a really long time.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, what about Renekton on that? Somebody who gets a stun off with his W, but like a significant stun time, who can dash to the backline without using it. W's locks them down, and then any extra damage that your team deals to that priority target just is amplified because of amplified at the end of it, not obviously right then.
I mean, but how often can Renekton afford to go 3,250 gold item?
Right.
That is,
I know that's the thing is
item
it's like you'd be
outright.
foregoing Black Cleaver first probably, or getting it as a very late item. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who to use on besides just straight assassins.
And then once you see someone get it, it's very telegraphed. And I wonder if like the animation on it's very noticeable, so that you can QSS it. I assume that you can QSS it, and I assume you could Zonya's it. But I mean, like you can QSS Deathmark.
You can definitely Zonya's it for sure.
No, you can do both. It's it puts like 6 red dots on you that highlight as it goes through it and then pops. So
okay, so it gives an indicator if that proc is going to finish you off, similar to the Zed
yes,
indicator.
it does.
But is it a debuff?
Yeah, I cannot imagine it's anything but a debuff. Like it.
Well, that's the difference between like QSS. QSS removes debuffs, right?
Yeah, but what else would it be? Like,
well,
I can't.
There's different.
I think you're
types
thinking
that
of cleanse.
Yeah,
Like, there's certain things cleanse can't remove, but
Like Cleanse
QSS
can't get remove Deathmark, but QSS can remove Deathmark. QSS can remove anything, pretty much.
Yeah.
Even like suppression. But it looks like, I'm just looking at it, it looks like that when the target's lower, it gives you like a bigger indicator, I guess, meaning that the proc will definitely kill you, which I know Zed has that same kind of icon. A lot of people don't even know that, but if the Deathmark is going to finish you off, it has a little shrieking over your head.
Yep.
You can pop a heal or pop a shield or like a barrier, and then it'll go away, but it seems like it has a similar indicator.
The teeth underneath when Feast will kill you.
Ooh, I didn't know that one.
Yep.
Pro tips, guys.
Pro tips.
It's a little bit easier to see with like Battlecast Cho'Gath.
I learned the shuriken thing from Serial, actually, from his casting days.
Yeah, shoutcasting is the only reason I learned that, because I'd be like, oh, there's the shuriken pop.
Right?
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun
I
to
look
watch
for
that.
it now, and then I just stand there. I'm like, I'm dead.
I think I remember learning it from Odwin's stream, and then like a month later seeing PewDiePie learn it on his own stream.
Did he really?
The champion's been out for like a year and a half, yeah.
Is there another new item in this? Oh no, they did increase Boots of Swiftness cost to 900 gold from 800 gold because they finally realized how fucking overpowered those boots
Dead
are.
Man's Plate's the other one. Also got a 100 gold increase just
Oh my
because
God.
of the items that are getting built on everybody. They said, well, maybe we should make them cost a
Slow
bit more.
decrease to 50% from 75%. Well, yeah, it's
They reverted the change to boots of mobility, it looks like. It doesn't like shit on your movement speed when you're in combat to
it
tier
does.
1 speed.
It does. It's exactly the same as it was before, except it's 10 extra movement speed when out of combat. It's 115.
Isn't that
instead of
tier
105.
2?
No. It's 25 when you're in combat, which is tier 1. And now they're out of combat.
They just made it even faster when you're out of combat. It's still shit on
and they
Rim.
increased to 900
Still
gold,
shit
so
on.
it's still shit. Yeah.
That is a
No,
shit
the only
on.
one
Until
I
they
thought
were-
was only thing I
until they
thought was
revert
cool was
that.
Sunfire. Sunfire's change, I think, is really cool.
Yeah,
Because
I thought
it's-
people were already building Sunfire more than Dead Man's Plate now.
Well, it's
I find
more of
interesting
the
that these
split
changes are
pushing.
going in.
It depends on
Split
the
pushing
champion.
is
There's
coming
a couple,
back with that.
Yeah, there's a couple
super
people
hard.
that will be rushing like Sunfire like usual, but a lot of champs
Shen.
that again more of those champs that just run
Poppy.
at you. Those champions are still getting dead mans.
I think Poppy actually
And
got
Sunfire is already cheaper and it gives you the same stats. It's just the
Saw Sunfire.
ability part that's different.
Worth noting to the listeners, because we just didn't even mention what the change is. It deals 50% bonus damage to minions and monsters on PBE, not live. So it's essentially just giving more split pushing power. Means that people who were split pushing with it before now do it better, which is
Yep.
interesting.
I got cat
It was
hair all
still
over me.
built a lot less than Dead Man's Plate.
Sorry for listening to my yelling. I look down and there's like cat hair everywhere. I hate this cat. Somebody.
Welcome
my
to
goodness.
having a pet.
Never saw it coming.
And she's on my chair again.
Hey, it's back. It's back.
Yep.
It's Hyper Kitty, dude.
God, this is Professor Noodles.
Turbo Cat.
Everybody say hi.
Was
to
it always Professor?
Yeah, it's Professor Noodles. She has a PhD in meowology.
Oh my
Who's allowed to
God.
have naming
I
rights
hate
next
you.
time? Because please let it be not the person who did the first time.
That was me. Well, her name is actually Midna, but I've named her Professor Noodles because again, PhD in meowology.
You got it the first time.
This is our fearless leader, guys. This is what
Yeah,
we
it's
come on
terrible.
to
She's back.
every single week.
I'm so
This
done.
is the person who calls all the shots.
Just
I
wait
mean,
till
are we
we're
gonna-
at PAX. You guys think I'm a fearless leader? Just wait till we're at PAX because Sean has seen it firsthand.
I've seen it
I
firsthand.
can't wait.
I'm gonna shit on kids. Kids are gonna
I
cry.
can't. I
I'm
don't know
gonna
about
need-
that.
I'm
Sounds
gonna
like
need
an
at
odd
least
fetish.
two flasks at this event for sure to handle this.
I'm just saying.
And it's mostly to give it to the people who he makes cry, even if
Who
they're
has to
kids.
deal with?
I'm not gonna do that.
With-
King,
I'm just
guys.
saying. I am a slave driver when it comes to these events. Like no one realizes it until they get there with me. They're like, "Damn, he gets shit done." Fuck yeah, I do.
Wow. You're
Yeah,
just tooting
like
your
business
own
cards.
horn
Like
over
bringing
the past
business cards to
fucking
events.
3 minutes.
Hey, I brought business cards to all men.
That's great. You know what we brought to PAX South?
You're-
Enthusiasm, and that's about it.
well, you know
I
what?
guess I got a camera.
You should have reminded me.
You brought sexy back.
Enthusiasm.
Since we talked about, I don't want to get too much into PB. I do want to roll back to Jungle a little bit more because we talked about it, and I wanted Tally. Boop. He's going to be in a spotlight. YouTube.com/T-Force podcast. This is our very first T-Force Teaches video we put out. We're going to try to put one out every 2 to 3 weeks, I think, at this point, because it takes a little bit. We learned a lot from this video, so let me go back and talk about it. We put a video out where we put why you should. It was originally supposed to be you save time by kiting jungle minions and you save life, but it really ended up turning out to be you just save life by kiting jungle minions as a ranged because of the way the video came together and everything, which is fine. It's still a great video. It still teaches you a lot if you're a jungler, a ranged jungler. So what happens is Tally, he did Graves, and he stood at a camp and he auto-attacked, and he kited a camp and auto-attacked. And the life difference is... I mean, he dies.
Significant?
Yeah, it's significant. He doesn't even use a
enormous.
potion throughout it,
Yeah.
essentially.
So yeah, the good clear. I chose Graves because it's very, very easy to demonstrate the difference between his auto attacks. One, they're slow reloading, and you have a lot of time to kite, and it makes a huge difference with a character like him. It makes a great difference with almost any characters, ranged or melee. You can really save health and time, but it's very, very easy to notice with Graves, and he has such a good clear with kiting that you can go refillable potion. You don't even have to use a single charge. I actually did the video to level 6, not going back once. I did both sides of the jungle, and I didn't have to use a single potion with Graves. And then I did a video, and then I did another run with Graves, not without kiting, and I couldn't even do a clear. I couldn't do a full buff to buff clear, and I died at level 3 to the blue buff.
Yeah, there are.
So it makes.
I want to point out just to say there are a few discrepancies in the video that we actually need to talk about, Tally, because you actually took W on your fake clear and you took Q twice on your good clear, and you should have done the same thing and stuff. Little things like that. It's not that big a deal. I mean, it kind of is, but still.
I was gonna die either way. Yeah, I was.
But there's like
But
things
yeah, I
that
should've.
if you need to go to T-Force Podcast on YouTube and check this out, youtube.com/T-Force Podcast, because Tally goes over why you should kite and shows you a good and bad example, and it shows you where you would die roughly, even if you save so much life by kiting. We posted this on Reddit. Somebody actually sent a Reddit. Wow, this video. I believe this dude was being sincere. He's like, wow, I actually learned something from this video because I would play Quinn and try to gank with low life all the time because I never realized that I should be kiting the minions and trying to reset their auto attack animations.
Yeah, I also did some recordings with like Nidalee, but like I said, Graves it's the same concept. You can clear without using a single potion and get level 6 if you do Nidalee right. But Graves it's easier to kind of demonstrate with and kind of see. But yeah. You could see from just the first 2 camps how much slower it was going, and more so like how much I was having to chug 2 potions by the time I was doing red buff. So yeah, hopefully that'll just kind of be a oh wow, this is like a realization point for people, and wow, well maybe I should try to do it. Even when I was trying not to kite, you still saw me occasionally do it. Like I couldn't get my muscle memory is so down to kite the camps
You just need
backwards.
to take
I
your
don't
hands
even.
off.
I probably should have. I should have just done this, but I couldn't stop myself. Even I saved myself some HP when I was doing the quote unquote bag clear, just because I every time I was using his E ability, I was kiting it backwards. Like it's just out of instinct. I couldn't even stop myself from doing it. So once you get that into second nature, that'll help you so much, and it will become just that. It'll become second nature.
One of the big things that I want to point out with this is if you are playing jungle, and it's really anybody, even if you're playing bottom lane, you should try to walk ahead of the minions if you have a chance to, because it gets you to point B more quickly than if you were behind whatever it was. So if you're doing a jungle camp and you have red, you can. This one's harder to do, but you can auto attack and let red finish off the little minions while you're running away, and it gets you to wherever like a second sooner.
They can give you a couple seconds sooner, but it's also called style points, Spawn. I went over in the video, but another thing that's really, really important for kiting with the jungle camps, and I'm just kind of tooting my own horn because I said this in the video, but repositioning the camp into an area where it is safer for you to complete that camp. Not only be higher health because you are kiting it backwards, but you can kite it backwards into the bush if it's like red buff or blue buff, or even the raptor. You can kite it backwards so that you're in the bush, even if the raptor isn't. So someone invades on you, you won't be as
I like the position camps between myself and whoever can potentially gank me, because if they roll up to gank me and they decide to chase me, I might be able to flip it because the camp is ultimately going to turn on them if they run through it because they're closer.
Yeah, I had a game with Jungle Graves as in the midst of doing all these videos, and I got invaded on level 2 at my red buff after doing Krugs by Lee Sin, and I had kited it backwards, and I had kited it not into the bush where you might, because I had kited it there, and then I took it out to further kite back, and then the Lee Sin invaded on me, and the camp was clearly between him, so he couldn't land a Q on me. And he tried to, and then it hit the camp, and then I just chased him out of my jungle, and then my team collapsed. We got a free kill.
I would have loved to see if you had like a third video, or like just did a kind of a joke one where you replace the bad clear with when you get invaded on and like get killed. It's like, see, if you clearly kited this champion away, wouldn't have died.
Would
have been a problem.
For our next video, I think we're going to try to be a little bit more. We're going to try to hit all scenarios
games.
and get some real games. I'm going to tell Chira this now too, because I don't think he was paying attention to the video production chat today. We're going to all install Plays TV or some kind of recording software and start grabbing videos of us doing things, because I think the next video we want to put together is, we've talked about it a lot. Punch remembers this from last year. Punch, how many times did we talk about positioning as an AD carry last year?
Too much. I lost count.
Yeah,
all of the
it
times.
was probably 6 podcasts last year, and honestly that feels like a lot, even doing 2 podcasts a week where we told people how to position. So I think our next video is going to be try to show real life applicable scenarios of where you can position yourself as AD carry and how you should skirt the edge of death and life. As we
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to just talk about and describe with words. A video would do a lot more justice.
Right. So that's pretty much where we're at. I want to talk about that and tell you guys to do that. Yeah, Kargan, we have a video production department. Join video production, I think is what it's called, in Slack. You'll see it. Just hit the little Slack channel.
There's one that actually I think would be an easy one to put together, and it was one that.
Are you in the video production?
No,
thing?
not at all.
Are you in it now?
But I will be in
Are
a
you
little
in it
bit.
now?
I'm not. I'm about to. I'm trying to talk first. One that I think would be good for supports, and it's pretty easy to put together, is the how to help an AD carry last hit under turret early in the game.
Really good.
Because that one
really
actually
smart.
was discussed by a guy I'm working with coaching on. Yeah, that's somehow the right words. Too tired. It's really weird, and it's not intuitive sometimes, because you're like, I'm going to help, and then you kill the minion, and you're like, shit, well, I'm not helping anymore.
I'm going to help, and then you
And then I
accidentally
report
screw it
after
up.
game.
Yep.
And then you
Take my
report that
videos.
one CS, yeah. So you can, that's actually a pretty easy one to put together, which I think would be kind of cool, and actually Plays TV would be super easy to grab that from any support games.
We need to do that. That's a good idea. Go to the video production chat and go toss it.
I'm joining it right now. I swear I'm joining it right now. There it is, video production.
And if you know what, if you guys have an idea for a video you would like to see, please email us, feedback@trinityforcepodcast.com. Go to subreddit/r/T-Force Network. Make a post. Email the mods. There's a billion ways to contact us and tell us how you should do it. Twitter, Facebook, subreddit.
If you have me added in game, harass me there.
Message Chira Jaden in game. Just tell us what kind of videos you would like to see and what things that we've talked about but you never really understood, because we'll happily make a video about it. Selexian, he's the one putting it together, and he's doing a great job. He's gung ho. This dude just wants to just do all the shit. He had the idea, and I'll good on him for this idea, but he wanted to make a team fighting video of how every role should play team fights. And I'm like, whoa, slow down, because team fights are really, really hard to teach in a video format.
Yeah, and there's so much to it. You can release a video every week for the next 2 years, and you still wouldn't cover everything.
It was really good. I really like the idea, and I think it's
yeah.
I think that we need to find a way to make team fighting happen. A video of basics of team fighting. But it's also going to be really hard. So, hey, and if you're out there and you have really good video production skills, or you have good producer skills, if audio or video-wise, email us, feedback@TrinityForce Podcast. We could totally use you. Put it on your resume. It'd be great.
Yeah.
We're just going to wrap it up then. That's about an hour, a little less, but you know what?
Can I say, if you do see the video and you have any questions about any kiting mechanics or anything like that, feel free to shoot me a message in game, or any of the things that Pone just mentioned. I'll be happy to kind of answer them, and I could do other videos of other champions, or just help if how do I clear with Rek'Sai? Someone was just asking that in chat at one point, and I was like, you got to level this second, and then you got to do this, and there's some mechanics. So I played just about any champion in the jungle. I could try to help with some of that if anyone has any questions.
If you have questions, patreon.com/T-Force Network, $25 or $50 will actually get you a one-on-one with Talenasty. $25 will get you a replay review by Talenasty. Shit on Talanasty's day. No, you can ask him questions, but if you want a super in-depth review of something, just $25, $50, you'll get one one time. Anything else?
That's stuff I do anyway for my team, so.
But he's gonna do it.
Join his team. Join if you go to FSU.
You have to enroll. You have to enroll in college. That might be a little bit.
No, Tally is getting a free ride to PAX at some point, so he's going to pip the T-Force Network Patreon. Yeah. Whoop, whoop.
Is that okay.
Yeah.
That's
whoop,
the dance
whoop.
motion I'm
That's
looking forward
the
to
white
in Boston.
guy.
Oh boy.
I've already told you guys.
You're going to see it at PAX, though.
All right, guys, that's it. That's the Trinity Force Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you for supporting us. Don't forget to go check out bit.ly/TForceGG. Also, bit.ly/TFNGGLCS to join the Gatherer's Granola giveaway. You can also go to the subreddit, find it. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. Guys, there's a billion ways to connect with us. TrinityForceNetwork.com. Thank you so much for listening and supporting us as we head off to PAX, guys. That is it. We will see you on Wednesday. Peace.
See ya.
Let it.